Hi, this is Seth David from the world famous Nerd Enterprises Incorporated, bringing to you another special screencast, another QuickBooks how-to on tracking and entering credit cards. Knowledge is power. Make an impact by learning more. Call me right now, 866-945-8070 for information about private trainings. We record the live session with you so you can review it as often as you like afterwards. Hi, this is Seth David from the world famous Nerd Enterprises Incorporated, bringing to you another special screencast. This time we're talking about how to track and enter credit cards in QuickBooks. I know some of you might be thinking this is kind of simple, but not everybody's been using QuickBooks for 100 years, so not everybody knows how to do this. And as it happens, it has come up a couple of times recently where clients and others have asked me about it. So I thought it was time to perhaps do a tutorial on it. So, let's say, for argument's sake, that you were visiting my website here at nerdenterprises.com and you wanted to sign up for my upcoming cash flow projections webinar. You'd come over, you'd click on the events link here at the top, then you'd scroll down and see where the events are, and you'd go to the post here and click through, and then you would click order now and make your payment on your credit card. And throughout the month you might be making other payments on that same credit card. Eventually the time will come when you want to enter those transactions into QuickBooks. And let's say, for argument's sake, that you didn't do it throughout the month as you made the charges. Let's say that you waited till you got the statement. Well, when you get the statement, you'll get something that looks perhaps a little like this. Every credit card company has a different way of laying out the statement, but the essential sections are basically the same. You're going to have a summary showing you the previous balance, any payments that you made, new charges, finance charges if you have any, and of course all arriving at the new balance for the month. Then within that you'll have the sections on the payments, the detail, the dates the payments were made and the amounts, and of course you'll have the section on the purchases and charges that you've made, the date of each and where it was made and how much. So once you have the statement, you're perhaps going to be ready to enter all of the transactions. So let's see what that looks like in QuickBooks. We'll start by entering these three purchases. Okay, so let's come back over to QuickBooks, and you have to remember that a credit card is issued by a bank, so you're dealing with a bank. In fact, the way I like to describe a credit card is it's a negative bank account. In a bank account, you theoretically have to deposit the money first and then write checks against it. With a credit card, you can, in a sense, write the checks first by making the charges, right? The money goes out first, then you have to replenish it by making your payments. So it is a negative bank account, and it is issued by a bank. So all that is to say that the place you want to go when you're entering a credit card charge in QuickBooks is in the banking menu. It's a banking thing. Credit card companies are banks. And you've probably seen that. It very well may be that the credit card you use is issued by your same bank that you have your checking account with. So we go to banking and we go to enter credit card charges. And you'll notice that as with any other transaction in QuickBooks, in terms of the things you would use to get expenses on the books, like your checks, your bills, the top section is different, the bottom is identical. You have your expenses and items tab, and you have the same columns within each. So of course the expenses is for just that, for expenses. Items is if you purchased inventory on your credit card, you come into your items tab and you can enter it this way if you haven't already entered a bill. So we're going to assume for this purpose that everything's expenses that we're entering, and the first charge here is Staples on September 2nd for $235. So let's put Staples in there on 9/2 for $235, and we're going to assume that it all goes to office supplies. So here's how you pick up the expense. The expense is in effect picked up right here on this very line within the transaction. And you know, the way to think about it really the right way is then here up the top is where you're picking up the liability. This is what's going to be owed to the credit card company now that you've made this charge. So we hit save and close, and if you come and look at your chart of accounts here, you'll see that I now have $235 owed on that credit card. This is a liability. I've just increased it. I paid Staples, but now I owe iBank for that $235. Let's go enter the other two charges. Enter credit card charges. What's next? And by the way, in order to eliminate the chance of error, you can copy and paste things right out of these PDFs usually. So press a Control-C. My Alt-Tab will get me back to QuickBooks. And this next one was from Union 76. I copied the date to the clipboard so I can paste that in with a Control-V now. Let's come back over to the PDF. I'll grab my amount, the 127, And not only does this save time in terms of data entry, but it also saves time in terms of eliminating the chance of error. I'm pasting the number in instead of typing it. Because if I make a mistake keying it and I don't notice it now, when I'm going to reconcile later, especially if I have a lot of transactions, it could take a while to find this mistake. So by using the copy and paste method of data entry, I'm eliminating the chances of having to do that later and probably saving myself a ton of time in the process. Last charge, 917 Nerd Enterprises. Let's go back. Banking, enter credit card charges. Nerd, 917. Paste the number in so that there's no mistakes. And we put something like this to education and training. Save and close. Now what's happened is we've got the bill here. And so let's just say, for argument's sake, this all happened last month. Right, so last month we got the bill, we've just entered these transactions, and we also made this payment back on August 31st. So let's record the payment. Now the payment, of course, is coming out of our bank account. And let's say it was done electronically. I can put EFT in there. The date was August 31. And the payee is iBank credit cards, and it was $430. Right, so this is going to represent an overpayment, isn't it? Oh, I apologize. This is the payment from the previous month that was made. So this is theoretically already on the books. See, I wasn't paying attention. So now that we've got this, the ending balance we come to is 409. And this is simple because all I've got is the current transactions from the statement. But now I'm ready to reconcile the credit card account to make sure that I've accounted for everything. And that works exactly the same way as doing a bank reconciliation. We come into the banking menu, and I go to reconcile my credit card. And I'm going to want to put in the ending balance from the statement, which is 409. So again, copy and paste to make sure that we've done it right. And we're going to leave the finance charges out because there were none, because we're assuming we're paying this off in full every month. And now, as a quick way, because I know that I've entered everything that was on the statement and I don't have any newer charges entered that, for example, might have come up in the current month, then I can simply click this button down here that says Mark All. And then, of course, I double check here that my difference is 0, that everything agrees. And once I've confirmed that, I click Reconcile Now. Now, then it wants to enter a bill for payment later. So I can do that, or I can write a check right now, whichever I prefer. So let's say we want to write a check right now. I would choose that option, click OK. QuickBooks does its thing. You can print the reconciliation reports. I don't bother to because I can always go back and get them if I need them in QuickBooks, especially using the Accountant's Edition. I can go back and get any prior reconciliation on any account. So let's say we're going to pay this electronically, and let's say we're going to pay it today, and of course it goes out to iBank, and it already puts in the full amount. That was the ending balance from the credit card statement, assuming I want to pay it all off. And notice the account down here. It goes right to the credit card from the bank. You don't have to pick up any expenses. We already did that when we entered the credit card charges. So now all we have to do is show a payment going from the bank to the credit card. Because right now, the credit card account shows that I owe $409. There it is in the chart of accounts. But as soon as I record this check, that's going to be 0. So save and close. And there it is. The credit card account is now 0 because I wrote the check out of the bank to get it paid. And that, my friends, is the complete cycle for how to handle credit cards in QuickBooks. You set up the credit card account. If you don't already have it set up, once you're in your chart of accounts, you can choose Edit and then New Account. And you'll see you have a special type of account called Credit Card. And QuickBooks will let you set that up. And it puts it into your chart of accounts in a special section just for credit cards. And I recommend naming them based on the financial institution and perhaps the last 4 digits of the account number, just so that it's easy to distinguish. When you're going to enter in credit card charges, you want to make sure you have the right credit card account chosen. And especially if you have more than one account at the same financial institution, it can be a little confusing, especially if you use names like operating or something other than the account number, which will certainly distinguish them. So that's how I recommend you name things. And that, my friends, is all on credit cards that I have today. Post your comments and questions below. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you on the web. This has been a special presentation brought to you by Nerd Enterprises Incorporated on QuickBooks, tracking and entering credit cards. If you'd like additional training on this or any other topic that you've seen me cover, give me a call right now at 866-945-8070 for additional information about our private trainings. We record the live session with you so you can review it as often as you like afterwards. Give me a call now. Let's set up an appointment and get started right away.